Hello and welcome to the CRN Executive Interview. My name is Matt Harris, Content Strategist at the Channel Company, and today I'm joined by Paul Butler. Paul is the Regional Sales Director UK and Ireland at AOC and Philips Monitors, and we're here today to talk about hybrid working and how technology is powering the future of productivity and well-being within the workplace.
Paul, let's start by setting the scene. How has the rise of hybrid working changed workplace technology?
So for us, it's changed a lot. Hybrid working really started during COVID in a way that we hadn't realized would have an impact on the way people work following what happened after COVID. So I think two things that happened together. One, we had the lockdown, and secondly, Teams took off in a big way. So hybrid working as a revolution started where people were forced to work from home. However, as things developed and people started to go back to the office, then they actually realized, you know what, we can actually save money, we can actually save costs. A lot of companies actually downsize their offices because they realize that they don't need to have everybody in. So as far as technology is concerned, we had to look at ways in which people were using monitors and displays as to how could we benefit from this new explosion in the way people were working. And we found out that people were working from the office and at home, and that meant they had to have two monitors. And most of those involved using a display with a webcam, with a connection device. In most cases, that was a USB-C device. Sometimes they had multiple monitors. So the impact has had a really, really solid effect on the industry as a whole.
When it comes to upgrading that technology, what are some of the biggest pain points that must be taken into consideration? And what are potentially some of the shortcomings and pitfalls that people are falling into along the way?
The biggest pain for a lot of people has been one where they've just said, well, this is the way we've always done it. This is the way we're always going to go. And we've employed a number of different people in our sales group who have come up with some new different ideas and different solutions. So where people were using multiple screens, now they're using a wider screen, and actually explaining to them how it would ease their working, how it would reduce the workload for them, how it would ease the mess on the desk with a rat's nest of cables. They'd have height adjust stands so they could adjust the screen. All of these things are new ideals that people had to get used to. They weren't things that they were working with. So then maybe they had two screens and they would always transfer from one to the other. Now they have one big screen, and that actually made a big difference. And, cost effectiveness, a lot of people were looking at what are these more expensive displays? Are they the same? And integrating the dock so you don't have to have a third dock where you're plugging your cables in. The dock is integrated into the monitor. All of these things were part of that whole hybrid scenario. And a lot of offices were deploying different display technology from us to actually envelop all of that, make it a lot easier for people to come in, plug in. And it also meant that people were not then limited to a particular desk. People could hot desk come in, come out as they wanted to.
But one thing that's really interesting that you touched on there is that such a big shift in workplace culture requires a big shift in strategy and mentality as well. With that being said, how can IT decision makers really find those future-proof solutions that enhance productivity and well-being in the workplace?
We actually invite end users to come in and look at different situations. An end user will have in his mind, well, I want this and I want that. Maybe I want a 27-inch, maybe I want two 24-inch, maybe I want a wide screen 34-inch. We actually invite them in to come and actually sit and try and test it, see what it's like. Because sometimes it's difficult to envisage how much desk space is it going to take. They're going to have all the ergonomic aspect. And I think that is actually looking at how people use that technology together with the software that they're using. So they might have their own bespoke software. They might use Teams. They might want to have multiple applications on one screen. All of those things we can show in our solution center and actually help people decide what they want to do for the future.
The thing that you touched on earlier in this interview as well was the revenue generation aspect. What sort of ROI can companies realize by modernizing their workforce's technology in this way?
Reducing the number of screens that you have on desk can actually reduce your carbon footprint. So we're actually going out to a lot of our users now and actually showing how we can achieve a zero carbon to desk solution. So we work with a couple of organizations outside of our business where we can actually go and do planting trees, for example, where we can actually show people for every monitor that you get on your desk, we can actually offset this with a carbon neutral example. But over and above that, we can actually show people, well, how can you save money? How can you look at power saving? So features, for example, that we have is a power saving device where you walk away from your desk, your monitor will shut down, but not only that, it will actually tell your PC, actually, you've gone away from the desk, please shut down, go to sleep while they're away. And when they come back, they'll wake up. So all the time that you're gone, you're actually saving power. Now you think, okay, that's minuscule on one desk, but when it's 1,000 desks, 2,000, actually that is a significant cost saving reduction in the electricity that they're demanding.
Just to build on that, I know you guys at Philips are sort of big believers in uniform hybrid working setups. Why is it important to have that uniformity when it comes to those setups across all of your employees?
First of all, if you're in a hybrid environment where you've got multiple people coming in, you want to be able to say to them, look, you can sit at any desk, you can plug it in, and you know the look and feel of what you're going to be working with is exactly the same. And also having the same product at home, you've got exactly the same scenario. So you haven't got to think, well, how do I configure this? How do I change this? Keeping that consistency is really, really valuable for a lot of companies, both at home and in the office.
Well said. Paul, I want to thank you for joining us today and also thank everyone who took the time to watch this interview as well. For more on hybrid work as well as all things UK IT channel, head on over to crn.com.
Thank you very much indeed.